Okay, so welcome to this evening's webinar. This webinar is all about, as you can see there, goals and attitude. Hi Maggie. And this is one of a series of, excuse me, of 8 webinars that I run. The first 3 are really about the retail side of the business, a couple of other bits, but mostly retail. Then 4 and 5 are all about team building and supporting team members. And then 6, 7 and 8, last week, this week and next week, are really to do with the kind of the personal development skills, the other kind of intangible skills that you need to build a successful business. I run one a week every Wednesday night at this time, so it normally takes about 8 weeks to do the full cycle. Sometimes 9 or 10 if I've got something on and I have to cancel one, then I might miss a week. But usually kind of 8 or 9 weeks to do the whole lot. And they're all recorded, so I'll show you at the end where the recordings are. So if you're particularly keen to find out about how to build your customer base or to get started on team building, you don't have to wait 4 or 5 weeks. You can kind of go straight to the recordings. So tonight, what we're going to cover is, it should take us about half an hour or so, and we're going to be talking about goals and attitude. And what we're going to be covering is your attitude important? Does it matter? And if you agree with me that it is, then how to do a bit of work on your attitude. Because some people, we all know people who are just kind of positive and happy no matter what's going on in the world, and other people that grumpy so-and-sos no matter what's going on. But it doesn't mean that what your normal characteristic is, you have to stay like that. You can work on it. So I'm going to explain a little bit about that. I'm also going to talk about goals. And goals are really important in our business. If you've ever worked in a job, it's kind of quite easy to get motivated, because if you're not in by 9 o'clock or you leave before 5 o'clock, then you'll sooner enough find yourself sacked. But in this business, you kind of have to motivate yourself to achieve what you want to achieve. And if you're not quite sure what you want to achieve, then you can kind of drift along for a little bit. So setting and defining goals and working out how to achieve them is a really important part of the business. So, do you think your attitude is important? Well, I would say of course it is. Because if you think about it, every distributor who joins Kleeneze has exactly the same opportunity. We have the same catalogues, the same products, we all have access to Facebook, we all have the same costs and overheads, we all have exactly the same payment plan. So it's the same for everybody when you start. But some people will be more successful than others. And the main difference between the successful distributors and those who are not so successful is their attitude. So, just as a bit of an example, how do you feel when you get up in the morning? Sometimes you might feel, I'm going to get those catalogues out, whatever it takes. It's pouring down with rain, doesn't matter. I'll put my coat on, put my waterproof over my bag, and the bags are all in the plastic bags. I'll just get out there, it doesn't matter. Or you might think, oh, looks a bit grey and miserable out there today. I've got a bit of a hangover from last night. Maybe I'll do the catalogue tomorrow instead. And a good phrase to think about is that successful people do what they know they should do, even when they don't feel like doing it. So it's understandable. You're not necessarily going to feel happy and cheerful every single day. But if you realise that it's important to do what you know you should do, even on those days when you're not feeling fantastic, then you will definitely be more successful. Your attitude makes a huge difference to your success, because, as I just said as an example, it helps you to put those catalogues out even if you're feeling a little bit down. And it might encourage you to chat and smile with your customers while you're out and about, even if you're not feeling great yourself. You can just overcome that. And just being reliable and cheerful builds that rapport with your customers, and that helps you to build a strong and loyal customer base. And obviously having a strong and loyal customer base provides you with a good steady income from all your personal retail. And it all starts, it kind of sounds quite simple, but just making sure you're getting your catalogues out regularly, even when you're not feeling like it. Chatting and smiling with your customers is a great way to build that repeat business from them. And then being reliable and so on. So all of those things will build a better income from your personal retail. And also, if you're looking to do team building, if you're a little bit under the weather and you're thinking, oh, I was going to put some leaflets out today, but I'm not sure if I will. If you've got a good attitude, then it just you say instead, doesn't matter if I feel a bit under the weather, I can just go and put the catalogues out anyway. I'll take a bottle of water with me, yeah, I'll be absolutely fine. It encourages you to make those follow-up calls. If you're feeling a bit nervous, especially if you're a bit under the weather, it's easy to procrastinate and think, oh, I know I should be calling those people up, but perhaps I'll do it tomorrow instead. But if you have a good attitude, it encourages you to make those calls even if you're not feeling right up to it. And doing the lead generation and making those calls all these activities could bring in an extra team member this month. And the bigger the team, the bigger your residual income. Because it's often not the big decisions that you make, it's the little things that you do every day, day in, day out, month in, month out, that result in this massive income that you can achieve. So, just just to summarise that, if you've got a great attitude, that can increase your orders from your own personal retail. That could make a difference between, say, £250 a week to £500 a week in orders, just because of the customer base that you've built up over the years. That could, if you repeat that attitude throughout your team, and you kind of share what I'm going to share with you today, that can increase your team's orders from, say, £2,000 a week to £4,000 a week. That could increase your income from £50 a week to £500 a week. Your attitude makes a big difference, so you have to realise that. So, if you agree that having a positive attitude helps, how do you get it? So you could pop down to the Sainsbury's customer service desk and say, please can I have £1.50 of positive attitude, please? Or maybe one of those big hyper Tesco 24-hour extra stores will stock it in their kind of self-development areas. But actually, I've got to admit, 2 supermarkets that I've been to don't really stock good attitude in a lot of places. So you've got to find it yourself. How can you improve your attitude? And I'm going to just give you a couple of ways this evening. So one is your life, your life philosophies. Now I talk a bit more about this on webinar 8, but just as a little bit of an example, it's really easy to blame things when something goes wrong. If it's pouring down with rain and you get soaked to the skin putting your catalogues out, you can blame the weather. Or if you're kind of struggling to get a pay rise at work, you can blame your boss for it. But if you start to change your thoughts on how you can improve things, and you can start to make a few good decisions every day, then that can improve your philosophies. And as I say, I'll expand on that a little bit more later on. But the other way to improve your attitude is success. Success is really good in building your good attitude, because if you're successful, you're happy, you get excited about it. So what is success? How do you measure success? Well, it's achieving goals. And achieving your goals is something that's quite a straightforward thing to do if you put your mind to it and you put in place a plan. And basically, constantly setting and achieving goals is a skill that is really useful to learn because it's a guaranteed route to success. So what I'm going to show you this evening is a step-by-step approach to setting and achieving goals. And basically there's 3 steps in it. So the first thing is to work out what goals are important to you. It's no good setting a goal if you don't really know why it's important. But once you've kind of got an idea of something that's really important to you, and personally I find kind of family-based goals are really, really important. If you're like to earn some extra money so that you can go on a family holiday or get a new house or redecorate the house or whatever, then these sorts of things are really, really important and they're really powerful goals. So I'm going to show you how to set your first goals and then how to go about achieving them. But you do need to be prepared for a little bit of a roller coaster. The route to success is not a straight line. You'll have good days and bad days. Seeing Sammy's having a great day and Janice having a fantastic time. But I guarantee with all of us that there'll be other days that are not as successful. So you just need to be prepared for that a little bit. So the first thing to think about is, what is your why? What is your reason for putting your catalogues out when it's a bit wet, logging onto Facebook early in the morning so you can get a few adverts out before you go to work when really you fancy a bit of a lie in. Because if you haven't got a strong reason why, this is what happens. Basically, you set a goal. Maybe you set your first goal to put out 1,000 catalogues a week, something like that. And you create a plan for it. So what does that mean? So I'm going to go out every morning for 5 days, put 200 catalogues out, pick them up a couple of days later, and you start to take those first steps. You put your 200 catalogues out on a Monday, and then an obstacle will appear. Something happens on a Tuesday. You get a phone call. Little Jimmy's gone to school, but he's a bit poorly. Could you come and pick him up, please? And you think, second day in, and already I've hit some kind of obstacle. I can't get my catalogues out now because I've got to look after poor Jimmy. But that's understandable, because if you don't have any obstacles, it means you're not ambitious enough. If you just sort of said, I think I'll see if I can get 100 catalogues out this week, and you got a phone call to say Jimmy's poorly, you could fairly easily say, oh, well, that's not a problem. Jimmy can come home, I'll look after him, and I'll get my catalogues out tomorrow instead. But if it's easy to get round these obstacles and still achieve your goals, you're probably not setting ambitious enough goals. And you need a strong reason why to motivate you to overcome those obstacles. So what I find is the goals that you set should be emotional goals. So don't just set a goal to say, my goal is to get 1,000 catalogues out. Because that's a great goal, but it's kind of a bit of a not particularly exciting goal, is it? It doesn't kind of generate lots of emotions. Your goal should be something like, I want to be able to take the family to a weekend at Alton Towers, where we're going to stay in this fantastic hotel. We'll have massive pizza every night, and it's for the twins' birthday, and we're just going to have such a fantastic time. And it's probably going to cost me £1,000. What a fantastic holiday the twins would have, fantastic birthday weekend they would have. And you can kind of just imagine how excited they would be and how much you would enjoy that. So setting emotional goals, and especially family goals, are really important. Just as a little example of how that might help you overcome the obstacles. If I put a plank down on the ground and I said to you, can you just walk across that plank? I'll give you £20 if you can do that. Standard, I don't know how wide the plank is, 6 inches long by 8 or 9 feet, something like that. You'd think, easiest 20 quid I've ever earned. Walk across it, £20 in your hand, thank you very much indeed. But if I then put that plank at the top of a 100-storey building and put it between that floor and the top floor of the neighbouring building, it was also 100 stories, so you're 100 stories up in the air, just have to walk across the same plank from one building to the next. You'd probably say, well, you can stuff that. I wouldn't do that for 20 quid. I wouldn't do that for £1,000. And who would blame you? The wind would be blowing up there. You probably have all sorts of worries. But if your daughter was in the other building and it was on fire, and the only way she could get to safety was to walk back across the plank towards you, and she was crying and she was worried and she wouldn't do it on her own, the only way you could get her across would be if you went across the plank and brought her back yourself. You would find a way to do that. You'd probably get down on your hands and knees and tie a bit of rope around you, have somebody at the other end hold you, hands and knees across the plank, grab your daughter, hands and knees back, and bring her back to safety. So the difference in whether you would overcome that obstacle was that you had an emotional, family-based goal. And although that's a bit of an extreme example, hopefully it kind of gives you a feeling for the kind of goals you should be setting for yourself. So when you've started to think about what these goals are, this fantastic holiday, the new car, so your car doesn't keep breaking down, whatever it might be, once you start to think about the goals that are important to you, then you need to work out how to set them. Which sounds fairly straightforward, and it is. So the goals to think about are, I would say, a great question. If you're not quite sure what you want to do, because maybe you haven't got twins and maybe you don't like Alton Towers, so choosing your own goals, I normally say just sit down with a cup of tea when you've got half an hour, you're not in a rush to go and do the shopping or anything, and just think to yourself, what would I like to change in my life? And it could be that you've always fancied that nice new car, or you just wish you didn't have to worry when the red, the red envelopes come through with your bills at the end of the month, or whatever it might be, whatever you want to change in your life. And start to think about that. And you can write in all sorts of different areas. It doesn't just have to be financial goals. It can be emotional goals, sort of business goals. It can be all sorts of different things. You can have health goals as well. You can use this technique for all sorts of things excuse me, you might want to change in your life. And what I recommend is you start off setting different types of goals. So initially, you might set some short-term goals. This is something that you could achieve in kind of the first 2 or 3 months in the business. So maybe it could be to have enough to buy yourself a new laptop, or as I said there, to save up to treat the kids to a day at Alton Towers. Maybe you've got somebody's birthday coming up or something like that. You should also have some medium-term goals. So these are probably things that you might take 6 to 12 months to achieve. So for example, you might have some credit card debt you want to pay off, or you'd love to save up for a family holiday abroad. Perhaps you've never been abroad or haven't been abroad for ages. So that's a goal that you'd really like to achieve. And longer term goals can be things that might might take 1 to 5 years. And that could be, as an example, maybe you'd love to be able to buy your own house, put a deposit on a new house, or buy yourself a brand new sports car, a Mercedes or something like that. So these can be kind of really exciting cars, really exciting goals. So when you've worked out the sorts of things that are important to you, and you've set a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, and a longer-term goal, the next thing to work out is how do you achieve it. So regardless of what that goal is, you need to take some actions. And the goal is a change in your life. As I said earlier, it's something that you'd like to change in your life. So when you've kind of identified it and worked out what it is, whatever that change is, whatever that goal is that you want to achieve, you can achieve that goal by you can implement the change in your life by achieving some results. So waffling on there. So the results might be, for example, you need to get some orders, or more orders that you get at the moment. You need to achieve a bonus. Maybe to get the size of bonus that you need to build some team members. So those are results. The orders, the bonus that you're looking for, the team members, are the results that you need to help you make those changes. And the results that you will achieve those results by taking some actions. So you need to kind of have a think about what sort of actions do I need to take to produce the results that will allow me to buy the car, or whatever the goals are. So little example here, if your goal is to buy yourself a new laptop, maybe the actions that you need to take are to put your catalogues out twice a week, maybe sort of post in 50 groups 3 times a day on Facebook, maybe to generate some leads for team members. You need to deliver 500 leaflets twice a week, for example. So those are the actions, and you need to kind of, if you're new in the business, you need to sit down with your sponsor, your team leaders, to say, these are my goals. Do a little goal setting workshop together. These are my goals. This is how much it's going to cost me. What actions do I need to take to earn that much? And it's exactly the same for the other goals. Maybe a family holiday might cost you a bit more than a laptop, maybe talking about a couple of £1,000. Maybe what you need to do is to blanket with your catalogues until your customer base is over 500 customers. Or maybe, if you're looking to do that by building a team, you need to make sure that you talk to 10 people a day, every day, about the business. Again, to work out exactly what actions you need to take, speak to your sponsors. And these are not exact sciences, obviously, it's just to give you a rough idea. And for longer term goals, exactly the same technique. Maybe to buy yourself that new Mercedes, you need to be generating at least 30 leads a week so that you're bringing new people in every single week into your business. And maybe you need to start showing some leadership by running a weekly webinar for your team, or having little local sizzles around your area so people can get to know each other and and kind of build that rapport within the team that's so important. So having thought about what the goal is, you need to work on what results do I need to achieve that goal, and then go back one step further to think about what actions do I need to take in order to get the results. And starting off with small actions will lead to big results. So if you're just started in the business and you're thinking, oh, I'd love a new Mercedes, you might find that you're not quite sure yet how to generate 30 leads or how to run a webinar, and maybe you haven't even got any orders yet. So you need to start off a little bit smaller and start doing your Facebook posts, doing your catalogues. So start off to a shorter term goal, because if you start off with small actions and start to achieve your results and your successes regularly, that will lead to big results. Because if you set it up correctly, every week you'll get a small success. That might just be some more customers or a nice new order or something, which motivates you. And then every couple of months, maybe you achieve a bigger success. Maybe you get to the point where you can afford that laptop, or you put a deposit down for your holiday or whatever. So that's great. You get even more motivated. And then, as this goes on, every year or so, maybe you achieve a fantastic goal. Maybe you qualify for one of the conferences in Mexico, for example, which is a fantastic goal, requires hard work, but you are so motivated when you've achieved it. It's just so exciting. So all of these things, these little successes, which grow into bigger successes, which grow into huge, exciting successes, all of that is just constantly improving your attitude, which is what I said at the beginning. You might not find it in Tesco's, but you'll find it in yourself. So, as I said, you do need to be prepared for a roller coaster. What I've just said there about putting your 200 catalogues out, posting things on Facebook, it's not a straight line. You won't always get the same number of orders from the catalogue. You will have good days and bad days, good days and bad weeks, on all sorts of the different of the business. So you do need to be prepared for that a little bit. But I think there was somebody once said, I really like this quote, any path without obstacles is probably not leading anywhere worthwhile. So you do need to be prepared for a few obstacles. And typically, the way this business works, I've seen this quite a lot, you have an excitement phase where you start off and you think, oh, this is fantastic, what a great start, I'll do everything it takes to be successful. And then you start to get a few things not go quite as well as you'd want to, so you start to doubt you can do it. You get a bit frustrated. You start listening to negative people who are sort of saying, oh yeah, I didn't think that was going to work, and you start to doubt that it's going to work for yourself. And then you can kind of fall into the pits, which is the normal phase. Excuse me. And it can happen to everybody. It could be 2 days in, it could be 2 months, it could be 2 years. What happens is you're kind of feeling so down about the business that you stop joining the webinars, you stay away from the meetings, you find excuses for why things are not working, you find faults with products that are out of stock or all sorts of different things that are not working. But if you've got that good attitude, if you've had some successes early on, that leads you to fight and think, I'm not going to let this beat me, I'm going to keep working, I'm going to fight through this. You know that if you don't give up, you will not fail. The only way you can fail is if you give up. So never give up. Success is just round the corner. Focus on your goals, not your obstacles, and keep attending events, keep communicating with your sponsor and your cross-line friends, and that will lead you on that route to success. Okay guys, it's about 8:25, so we're 25 minutes in. I'd like to ask anybody who's happy to share with us, have you got any short-term goals, things that you'd like to achieve within the next kind of 1 to 3 months? Excuse me. Anybody want to share anything with us? Type away, type away. Ah, Katrina, new furniture. That's good. It's a nice thing. I quite like that because it's quite a physical thing that you can see. Paying a credit card off, that'd be fantastic, Vanessa. I quite like things like that because it's not very exciting, but actually the the kind of the relief that you get when, if you have had difficulties is brilliant. Karen and Ian, yeah, I think I like the idea of getting your head around Facebook, but what you need to think about is when you've done that, what will that allow you to do? What, if that's going to increase your business and mean you'll earn an extra, excuse me, £500 a month or something like that, what would you do with the money? Because it's the emotional beauty of the goal that will force you to do the work around Facebook. Hi Victoria, yeah, paying your bills, that's a good one. Margot, sorry, I think you've got your chat box there set to sending the messages only to the presenter. So I can see what you've written there, but I don't think anybody else can. Andrew and Amanda, 15% and 18%. I understand what you're saying there. I would say, rather than just putting that as a goal, what your goal should be is what will you do with the extra income that would give you? Would you go on a holiday or buy a new car or new furniture like Katrina? £100 on something nice just for you. Mary, what would you spend £100 on? What do you fancy? Oh, Rudy, what a fantastic goal that is. A plane ticket for your mum to come and visit you. Where's your mum, Rudy? South Africa. Amazing. I mean, that's just, I like that goal. That's a really good goal because obviously it's really emotional. I can just imagine if you haven't seen your mum for a little while, your mum would love to come over and visit you. That'd be a brilliant one. Okay, guys, there's some fantastic goals there. Those of you who kind of are not sure yet, please spend a bit of time doing it. I think one of the best things that you can do with your sponsor. Oh, shoes in the dress. Sounds good. Not my cup of tea. I've got to admit, I can't remember the last time I bought a posh dress, but I can imagine that would be great, Mary. So I would say a great thing to do, a good use of your time and a good use of your sponsor's time, is to just sit down with them and think, spend an hour or so over a cup of tea and a sticky bun, just working on a bit of goal setting. Start to get excited about what goals you're setting for yourself. Okay, I'm just going to skip over these last two because I thought that was a really good exercise doing the short-term goals. There are some medium-term goals and long-term goals you should be thinking about as well. But if you start off with the short-term goals, what you'll find is you start to get more and more excited and set more challenging goals for yourself. And the question that you have to ask for yourself then is, are you taking the actions that will inevitably lead to that result? So when you're thinking about those goals, whether it's getting your catalogues out, posting your Facebook posts, recruiting people into the team, supporting your team, probably whatever those actions are, you need to make sure that you're taking them, because it's all very well having a goal, but it's the actions that will lead to the results. Okay guys, pretty much finished now. That was number 7, which was goals and attitude. Next week, number 8 is a little bit more on personal development. There's some fantastic books out there and videos and things. I'm going to talk to you about why that's so important. So, I mentioned earlier that I was recording this webinar, so I'm just going to stop the recording now. Bear with me.